Okay,
All
because
right, guys. Welcome to Money Talks. I have Alex here. I know I've been talking a lot about him all week. He's featured in CNBC Money. They wrote a couple articles about him. He has a YouTube channel, much like I have a YouTube channel. But Alex just has a wonderful story. I'm glad he's able to come on and actually kind of share with us a little bit about his background. And as you know, Money Talks is all about kind of meeting you where you are financially so that you can make better decisions and start to build wealth on your own. So I'm not going to delay any time, but Alex, if you can go ahead and just kind of share a little bit about how you make your income, about how much. I believe the story that was a while ago. It was about 230 a year that you're making, and then what kind of just got you started that way.
okay. Hi again. My name is Alex Sanchez. If you're kind of wondering where I'm actually at work and I'm doing this call through my phone. So where I'm currently at, I my connection's not too great. So I hope that I don't cut out while we're doing this. A little bit about me. I'm 25 years old. I live in the Chicagoland area. My main title, my job, my so-called 9 to 5 is I'm an overhead lineman. And for some people that don't know what an overhead lineman is we're pretty much the people that work on the power lines. Whenever you lose power, we're out there restoring power, whether broken poles, down lines, and doing the maintenance work on the power grid. So that's pretty much what my job entails. I think I have the best job in the world. It's rewarding. It's financially rewarding, but it's also rewarding in the way that I get to help people out. Because as we all know, we all need power, and without power, we can't really get much done. So again, I come from a Latino background. My parents are immigrants. Both of them came here when they were in their 20s. So I'm first generation American. Uh, I do my job. I work a lot, and I'm also a business owner. I own a lawn care business that I run with my brother. Um, I've stepped down a little bit from my lawn care business, and I'm letting my brother handle most of it because I'm only one man. I'm trying to balance four things at once. I'm a real estate investor. I currently own 5 rental properties. I invest for monthly cash flow, and I'm also a YouTuber. I decided to chase the YouTube side gig. My goal was like 5 years ago is that I wanted to start my own YouTube channel. I was always scared because I was always scared what people were going to think about me, and I didn't have the credentials. So this whole CNBC thing kind of pushed me out there because I had started my YouTube channel. People checked me out, and they're like, "Wow, dude, you should start your channel back up." So I picked it up. I stopped caring what people thought about me, and I'm just like, I'm gonna go for it because it's my passion, and hopefully one day I could do that full time. But yeah, so I juggle four things at once, and people kind of call me crazy because they're like, "Why are you doing so many things at once?" And it's just, I guess, it's what I was born with. I was born with that motivation to just keep going for more, especially coming from a Mexican family where a lot of people in my family didn't go to college or they're not making it. So I have that immigrant mentality where like I have to go out there and work hard because sometimes my ethnicity gets a bad reputation. So I'm out here to show everyone that, even immigrants or, people coming from an immigrant family. I was born here. We can do it as well. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome, awesome, phenomenal. So, what are some of the things that kind of turn you on to the? Uh, you said you had the lawn care, and now you're doing real estate. What kind of turned you on into that those sides of your business? Like, how did you get started doing that?
Uh, so, so what? Here, I'll start off with the lawn care or the landscaping. When I wasn't making good money at where I'm at right now, I started off the company reading electrical meters. So I was going house to house, looking at the meters. That way, customers get their accurate billing for whatever however much power electricity they used. So when I was doing that, it wasn't paying enough, and that's when I was doing a lot of side hustles. I was constantly on Craigslist looking for side gigs that paid cash. I was helping people move. I was painting. I was doing lawn maintenance, whatever people needed help with on the Craigslist site. So I got really good with the lawn care, and I just saw opportunity with lawn care because there's a lot of people that think it's tedious work, which it really is. I don't like doing, my own lawn work at my house. But I just saw opportunity because it's a practical business that, let's say I want to hire an employee one day, which I did with my business. Um, I was able to do it, and there's not too much liability in it. I figured that if I was already doing it, why don't I just turn this kind of into a business instead of saying, "Hey, I'm Alex and I do lawn care." So I decided to put a business name to what I was doing,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't because I was passionate about it. I just saw a practical business that was easy to start, and you don't need a lot of money because it all starts with, a little push mower, a weed whacker, stuff like that. But I saw a lot of opportunity, so I did that. And as far as the real estate investing, one of the articles that I was recently featured in on Cnbc, I talked about two books that changed my life. It was Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it was Dave Ramsey's Baby Steps. No, Dave Ramsey Total Money Makeover. And Rich Dad Poor Dad kind of opened my eyes. It kind of like made me realize that I can become something. I always knew I wanted to become successful, but I just didn't know. I didn't know how. So Rich Dad Poor Dad to me was like, epiphany. Boom. This opened up my mindset, and I'm like, okay. And I know Robert Kiyosaki loves real estate, so it
Absolutely.
opened my mind to the real estate investing. And it was practical. It's super practical. People always need a place to live.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a business that, it's almost recession proof in a way. Although right now they're advertising tenants not to pay their rent.
Right.
So I mean, luckily right now things are still good on my end.
Mm-hmm.
The month of May was still good. So we'll see how. Right now it's month by month, month by month, and again, cash reserves protect you when times like these come.
Absolutely. So, yeah, you kind of mentioned the real estate piece. How did you actually? What was your process for finding and kind of doing your first property?
Yeah. So originally, when I wanted to get started in real estate investing, I wanted to do multifamily.
Uh,
I wanted to skip the house, the condos. I wanted a 4 unit building, if not more. I think I wanted to start with the 6 unit. So I wanted to go big or go home. Kind of, that was my mentality.
mm-hmm.
So I didn't. It, I realized that if I wanted multifamily, I was gonna need a big down payment. Um, so I stayed for about 4 or 5 years. I saved money. And I was just waiting to have good cash reserves to get my first deal. And then one day,
Mm,
my realtor sends me a condo, and it was move-in ready. It was a good deal. It was below market value, and I said, "Why not?" So at the time, I did not have any financing. I didn't have a pre-approval letter, but I had the cash in the bank.
mm,
So I went, and again, at that time when I got my first property, I was a huge Dave Ramsey fan.
absolutely.
So I'm, Dave Ramsey, cash is king.
Right.
I went in there, I bought it. I'm like, you know what? Screw financing. I'm gonna go in there, buy the cash, and
Right.
not have to worry about a mortgage. So I went in, I bought it cash. Um, it wasn't nerve wracking for me really because I prepared 5 years for that moment.
Okay.
So I know some people jump in a little bit more scared because they're newer,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I prepared myself for 5 good years of like nonstop real estate. My girlfriend was so annoyed because I would listen to real estate books, podcasts, YouTube videos on my way to work,
Okay.
during work, on my way back from work, and then on the weekends or anytime I hung out with my girlfriend. So
Mm.
she's like, "Wow, can't we just listen to music?" And I'm like, "No, uh, I like real estate." So I don't know how many hours of content I watched and listened to, so I was pretty confident with my first deal. Uh, I don't have anything out of the blue that that scared me or that I wasn't prepared for. I think um, just all that matters when you're buying real estate is the numbers. The numbers never lie. So they always say you make money when you buy, when you're going into the deal. So
Mhm.
if the numbers don't make sense in the beginning, don't you can't assume that you're going to make it work later on. You can't force a good investment. It's got to be there. The numbers before you even buy, you got to see the numbers. You got to see how much the
Mm.
property cost, what the taxes on the property are, because obviously Chicago has high property taxes.
Right.
But there's a lot of areas that, like, you go to a certain county and property taxes there are like 20,000 a year. And then you go, just a few miles down the road or whatever, and you're like at
Mhm.
three to $4,000 a year on property taxes. So you just have to break down, okay, what are my total costs of owning this piece of real estate?
Mm.
Everything, utilities, everything. Just think as a homeowner. See, I was never actually a homeowner because my first place that I bought was my investment property. So if there's homeowners on the show listening, they can relate to it more because they have their own property, their expenses, their utilities. I didn't have any of that because it was my first property. So I figured with my condo, I had an association fee. I
Mhm.
had I didn't have a mortgage. I had my taxes, and then you always put money aside for maintenance and repairs because something will always happen.
Right. That is so good. So in your time, so you've owned property basically for what, about a year or so now? Um, because it took you about 5 years to buy that first one, and then
So so yeah, I got it. I got into so I bought my first property at 23, and right now I'm 25. So I've owned real estate for a little bit over 2 years now.
okay,
Yeah.
and then
So
but you have more than that. You have about four now, right?
yeah, I have five right now. I
Five.
own I own two condos, two townhomes, and then a house.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah, in the video I did mention in the video when I
That you
broke
was
down my
looking to
income,
do another
I
one.
mentioned I mentioned that I owned a house with my mom. So I bought a house cash with my mom. It was a
Okay.
really good deal at the time, and I got my mom excited. She's like, "Hey, I want to invest. I have money." My mom was always a saver, so I got the saving mentality from my mom.
Okay.
The only problem with my mom is that she didn't know anything about investing, so her money was just losing value in the bank.
Okay.
So I'm like, "Hey, mom, do you want to go half and half on this deal?" And she's like, "Yeah." Like she's been waiting on the sideline. She's like, "Can you please help me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's my goal. My goal is to not only help myself, but I'm going to help her invest her money." So we went in on this deal that it was way under market value. We bought it cash, and I pulled the equity out
Hmm.
because we bought it for 90. We fixed it up with 10K, and all in we were about, let's say, 102 grand in. I got it appraised at 185, so I pulled not
Wow.
only all the money, but I pulled out extra equity out of it. So I don't know if your audience knows anything about the Burr investing strategy. So we bird that house.
It,
We
probably not. I know I haven't really spoke about it, but if you could touch on it just a little bit.
Okay, so I know I told you I'll get carried away with
Yeah, yeah.
real estate. So
No, it's all right. So good.
so so I got into real estate after the Kiyosaki book, and then what really got me into real estate after that, because I got into a YouTube channel. It's called Bigger Pockets. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. So Bigger Pockets is a YouTube channel. It's kind of like a social media. It's a community for real estate investors.
Hmm.
It's all about real estate. It's kind of like a Facebook, but for real estate. So I got into that. Their podcast is huge. They're one of the biggest real estate investing people on the internet, and they're not really ever pitching their courses. It's all pretty much free content.
Hmm.
So when I got into that, that's what really got me into real estate, because I was learning from them. They have a strategy called the Burr strategy. It's called Burr. It's an acronym for It's a BRRRR,
Mm-hmm.
4 R's. So you buy a property, you rehab the property,
Mm-hmm.
you rent the property, and then you refinance the property, and then you repeat the process.
Okay.
So this burst strategy only works if you buy a property that's a good property that's under
Okay.
market value. Again, for example, you buy $100,000 house, it appraises for 180. Yeah, the bank's going to give you 75%, if not sometimes 80% of what it appraises for. So in my case, I got 135,000 from the bank,
Mm-hmm.
but we only paid 102 for the house.
Mm-hmm.
So now you basically have a house, you got all the money back that you put into the house, but now I have another 30 grand to play with to go and buy more real estate.
Wow.
So and I don't know if I'm talking to a lot of, novice
Right.
investors but this step is, I wouldn't suggest you do this in the beginning.
Right.
Once you have a little bit of more experience and knowledge, or you feel more comfortable, you jump in. It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely not a beginner strategy, but again, that's the burst strategy. And I apologize for getting off
No, so good. So with your first one, you said you did it in cash. So would you suggest someone doing it in cash, or would you suggest?
Yes, honestly, again, because I like Dave Ramsey,
Right.
but I don't listen to everything Dave Ramsey talks about. Like I love so many, Graham Stephan,
Right.
Grant Cardone with real
Right.
estate. So I take a little bit from
each one.
each person, and
Yeah.
then I come up with my own investing strategy. Something that I tell people is that everybody's investment strategy is different.
Exactly.
My investment strategy might be aggressive because
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty young. My debts are, the only debt I have is my income producing properties.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have consumer debt, no card, no auto loans, none
Right.
of that. Plus, my income is pretty high for what my expenses are, so I can do stuff like that. I can take a risk, but I suggest if you were to do something like that,
Mm-hmm.
cash is awesome, because let's say you can't refinance your property, because sometimes you can't refinance it. Maybe it doesn't appraise for as high as you think
Mm-hmm.
it'll appraise for. So it's almost like speculation. So at least if it doesn't appraise for that and you can't refinance it, at least you have a paid for property.
Uh-huh.
Because some people do hard money loans and then they go buy property and they're like, okay, I'm going to fix it up, and now I'm going to go refinance it with a traditional mortgage so that way I could pay my hard money lender. Well, now they can't get that loan, and now they're owing a lot of money to a hard money lender with high interest.
Exactly.
So now they're in a situation where they don't want to be. So
Right.
that's when leverage is bad. So,
Mm-hmm.
you have to know how to use leverage. You have to know how to use debt, and it all depends on your income, your age,
Right.
and your risk tolerance. That's how I see it.
That is so phenomenal. Just the process and just understanding that. I mean, if people can wrap their head around, dude, you're 25. like people just don't understand. But to understand the meticulousness of that's what I was trying to explain to a lot of people as I coach people, as I speak about finance. Personal finance is just that. It's personal. It's very, very nuanced. There isn't really a cookie cutter approach, because how I might get out of debt or how I might reinvest, well, that's based off my situation. And like you said, what my income is, what decisions I have to make in my household, that's how I make my strategy. So if I'm just following somebody who said, hey, dude, not to knock Dave Ramsey, because I think he has some great teaching, but that's a very, very blanket, plan. And I'm like, you kind of got to take the good with the bad and look where you can apply concepts, because there is truth in what he's saying, but it's not necessarily going to fly for your process, for your character of how you go forward. So good. One thing that I thought was interesting, where you talk about the leverage, but just from your perspective, how important do you think, and this is a little twofold, how important do you think it is to have that emergency fund, and how much do you think, because you don't have an auto loan and because you don't have consumer debt, how much do you think that prohibits the person's actual opportunity to grow and invest?
So yeah, emergency fund, it's the most important thing, because during times like these, well,
Right.
what if I don't get what if my renters stop paying?
Right.
Well, now I have 4 mortgages
Right.
that I have to pay, and I'm not getting a stimulus check. My income is too high or whatever.
Right.
So your emergency fund is your insurance. You have to
Yeah.
self-insure yourself,
Exactly.
because Murphy's Law. I
Right.
talk about this all the time. Murphy's Law. If anything could go wrong, it will go wrong.
Exactly.
So having that emergency fund protects you from. So I always look at every situation. What's the worst that can happen? What if I can't get rents for? And I'm, as much as I like to, as much as my risk tolerance is pretty high, because again, I like taking risk.
Absolutely.
At the same time, I make sure I have a year of expenses for all my properties. I have a year of
Exactly.
expenses, because I always look at what's the worst that can happen.
Exactly.
For some people, they may feel comfortable with 6 months of
Right.
expenses, or 3 months, but you're never going to be having too much emergency fund isn't
Right.
going to be bad for you. It's going to be
Exactly.
better for you. It'll help you sleep at night.
Right.
It'll help you take higher risks, because you know that if you risk this money for this investment, you still have your emergency fund. You still have that backup. So I think emergency fund is super important, and I think a lot of people need to focus on that before
Right.
they focus on investing.
Exactly.
And what was the other part of the question?
Just your aspect, how you look at how much the consumer debt, the auto loans, the credit cards, how much all that stuff kind of keeps you suppressed on what you could be doing.
Yes. So as far as debt, that's again, we were talking about Dave Ramsey. That's one thing I 100% agree with Dave Ramsey, and I would never go against that. Pay off consumer debt. I would, again, why do I take these higher risk? To me, they're not really higher risk, because real estate, as long as you know what you're doing,
Right.
you can keep the risk down. But any investment in life is a risk.
Yeah.
Anything that you got to put money to get a higher reward, anything is a risk. That's just life. But as far as paying off consumer debt, that's what's going to keep you healthy, financially healthy, because if worst comes to worst, you only have I only have those mortgages to pay off. But because I couldn't imagine if I had student loans and I had three cars, a huge house that trying to keep up with the Joneses,
Exactly.
vacation, credit cards and this and that. Then now I'm playing with fire, because now all my paycheck, it's not going to me, it's going to all these debts I owe.
Exactly.
So it depends. Again, it depends on anyone's. One thing about Dave Ramsey is he's cookie cutter. It's my advice, or you hit the highway. And I don't believe in that. I do not believe in that, because everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you have to, don't compare yourself to other people's finances. You have to realize what situation you're in.
Right.
But if you want to take my opinion, take my opinion. Who am I, right? I always, in my YouTube videos, I claim I'm not a financial advisor.
Right.
I'm not licensed. I don't have the degree to do that. Do I think that I give better advice than a financial advisor? Hell yeah. But I can't be leading people the wrong way, because I could get in trouble. Right. So I always tell people, like, I'm more entertainment than education. But at the same time, I'm education, but I can't pitch it out as, hey, no, you listen to me, because I don't want to get in trouble. Right. If you want to listen, if you want to take my advice, you do your own research, you do your own due diligence. Right. Go out there, you make your mind up. I don't want to be responsible for anyone's finances, but I think paying down debt, consumer debt, is very important, because it's bad debt, according to Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? Good dad, good and bad. So that's my personal beliefs, and I think that paying off debt, it's not going to do any harm to you. It's going to be good for you. So you can't go wrong doing that. But again, it's not cookie cutter.
Yeah. So good. So good. Before I get to the last question as we begin to wrap up, how can people, just real quick, how can people reach out to you? Again, I'm gonna link your YouTube channel in the description below. I'm also going to link those articles and previous CNBC edits so that you can find them there. But how other ways that they can actually support you? I know you're on Instagram too, because that's how man. I definitely appreciate being responsible that way. How else can they connect with you there?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel, that's where my focus is. My focus is all on my YouTube channel right now. So my YouTube channel is if you look up my name, Alex Sanchez, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really know my URL.
Right. And I'll link that in the group as well.
But I should come up. I should come up as one of the first ones, especially because the CNBC video comes up first, actually.
Yeah.
So on YouTube and Instagram, Sanchez at Sanchez22 Dro DRO. You can find me on Instagram, and my channel's to kind of educate others, but also inspire them and just show them dude, this guy graduated high school with a 1.8.
Right.
All my teachers thought I was going to be a loser,
right.
And they told me, they implied it all the time. So I want to show everyone that's dude, it's not just college. Anyone can make it. And I want to put a little bit more the spotlight on the trades, because the trades are phenomenal if you don't want to go to college. But college, it's good. Nothing against college.
Right.
My end.
No. It's not, what you're doing, is how you get there. You know what I mean? Or the fact that you got there. Who cares? A lot of people don't care what you did along the way. But that's important. It's definitely important. But yeah, last kind of question. I know your time's kind of winding down.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give someone, if you could just kind of give some words of encouragement, or just someone who, hey, I'm thinking about investing, or hey, I'm bowed by debt. I can't really see the opportunity out there as you can see it. What kind of information and encouragement would you offer that person?
My advice is you have to be patient, because people see success and they're like, oh wow, they're doing it. Why am I not there yet? It takes time. All of this takes time. Buying real estate takes time. Again, I spent 4 or 5 years saving, pretty much living way below my means. And I saw my best friends were, I was at the age where everybody's growing up.
Right.
So they're getting that car because they're finally making money. They're getting a nice car, a nice place. They're moving out. They're having these cool trips, stuff like that. You have to be able to have self-discipline, because it's not easy at times. But as long as you see that you just have to be focused on that long-term reward. It's all worth it. And I guess my advice is, again, be patient. It takes time. Be patient. And even me, I lose motivation all the time.
Absolutely.
Sometimes even me, as much as I'm focused on my goals, some days I'm like,
yeah,
I just want to be normal and do the normal thing of just consumption,
right.
Go on Amazon, just buy a bunch of crap I don't need.
Right.
But then, but if you surround yourself with the right people with the same mindset as you, they're going to keep you accountable. They're going to, so one thing that helped me as I was chasing, as well as I'm still writing my stories, I'm still chasing success, because to me, I don't see it yet. My motivation is I always stay on YouTube watching my favorite finance channels, my favorite, just being around people doing real estate meetups. I have a few buddies that do real estate, and they do a meetup, every Tuesday. Just surround yourself with people that are doing what you want to do. If you want to be a real estate investor, go hang out, talk to people who are doing it. Learn from people who are doing it, and then stay motivated, because I still watch stuff I know on YouTube.
Right.
I still watch Dave Ramsey. I know everything Dave Ramsey preaches.
Absolutely.
Because I got so much content from Dave Ramsey, but I still do it for the motivation, for the kind of to keep me accountable. So keep yourself accountable, read books, keep learning. I'm not done. I don't know anything compared to, the big people. So
Exactly.
all I got to do is learn from them, keep doing, and, stay hungry. It's not easy,
You're right.
but it's totally worth it because, again, the first few years, I'm like, I'm never going to get there
Exactly.
But it takes time. And with me, I'm getting a little bit quicker because of my income. But if you have a more of an average income, you got to know it's going to take a little bit more time. If you don't have debt, if you don't have all these payments going out of your bank account that you owe,
Right.
the quicker the result.
Exactly.
The quicker the results. So focus on paying off some of that debt and education. Keep learning.
So good, man. It's so refreshing. I definitely appreciate you dropping in. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Alex information will be down in the description below. In the Money Talks group, definitely appreciate you all 1,100 plus of you that are joining me here. I'm gonna drop Alex information so that you can follow him, especially if you're involved in real estate. It's always, like you said, good to watch people who are doing what you want to do. So I've seen his YouTube channel. I'm kind of all over that right now, but I really enjoy it, and it really gives me good perspective. Just because I understand he kind of takes you through, walk you through different phases of his journey. So definitely appreciate you coming on, Alex. Try to stay dry in there, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Thank you so much, man.